Hi guys, back Paul here, hope you're well. So you join me today then back out on my Yamaha MT-09 out in the Yorkshire countryside. Another nice day so far, and I thought I'd do a little video today just going over a couple of reasons or a couple of indications that I've seen online that point to the fact that there might be a new Yamaha MT-09 on the horizon. So first up, this particular bike I'm on today, my MT-09, as you may know if you follow me on my channel, is the 2017 model. So this is the second generation Yamaha MT-09. The first one came out in around 2013, 2014. And this particular bike, again the 2017 model, is Euro 4. So as you may be familiar with the regulations or the standards, Euro regulations are basically aimed at cutting down emissions, and this particular model, like I say, is a Euro 4 spec. Now there is a Euro 4 regulation coming into effect in January of next year. There are some rumours as to whether that might get delayed given the issues with coronavirus, and I'll put a link to some articles in the description below this video, but as it stands, the current regulation is coming into effect in January of next year. Now the reason I think that's kind of important to this particular bike is because, as I say, this one is Euro 4, but a lot of its rivals in this kind of naked middleweight sector are actually already at that Euro 5 standard. So you're looking at bikes like the Triumph Street Triple Range, the new BMW F900R, the Kawasaki Z900, and then you've got bikes like the KTM 890 that's also just been released, and already those manufacturers have taken the step up to the Euro 5 standard. So Yamaha are a little bit behind in that regard. Now obviously they could work on the current bike to get it up to that Euro 5 spec in terms of, you know, tweaking the exhaust system, the fueling and the engine, and it might not mean a kind of redesign of the bike, but personally I think if they were going to be making the upgrades to get it to the Euro 5 regulation spec, then I would personally think that it might be a good point in time to kind of take a step back, look at the bike as a whole and see what they can do to kind of keep up the competition, or, you know, put it ahead of the competition, because even since this bike launched in 2017 there have been quite a lot of improvements, like I say, to the rival bikes. So for example, all of those bikes that I mentioned, I believe apart from one model in the Triumph Street Triple range, but the majority of the Street Triple bikes, the Kawasaki Z900, the BMW, the KTM, they're all now sporting TFT screens as standard. Now for me personally that's not a massive issue. You know, this little LCD screen does look a bit old-fashioned now, and the rev counter can be hard to read, but it's not a big problem for me. However, I think if you put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's buying a new bike, if they were able to go to a bike show, obviously at the moment most of them are cancelled, but if they were browsing bikes in a dealership or a bike show, then they would see that pretty much all of the competition do look that little bit newer and a bit more modern because of these TFT screens, and I think that's an improvement that Yamaha could make. But there are also other improvements I think they could do to this bike. So the tyres that come as standard on this bike aren't particularly brilliant. The suspension could still be improved further, and then you've also got just little issues like the indicators are still these really big, you know, bulky, kind of not very nice looking indicators. A lot of the rival bikes have gone for, you know, slim LED style indicators, and when I took out the Kawasaki Z900 for a review ride, again the video's on my channel, that particular bike, it just felt a lot more kind of better set up. It had much better suspension than this bike. This bike still feels a little bit bouncy. It doesn't bother me that much because I don't take it on track, but you know, the Kawasaki did feel a little bit stiffer and just a little bit firmer in terms of suspension. It had better tyres. The tyres felt a lot more grippy. I can't remember what tyres were on that bike as standard now, but yeah, they were definitely an improvement over the standard Dunlops that come on the MT-09. And yeah, just obviously I had the TFT screen as well, and I just think that these are upgrades that could be made to the existing MT-09. Now I know we had the MT-09 SP, and that did improve the suspension. I think that came out 2018, but I do think to the base model they could make quite a few improvements, and obviously cost comes into it, you know, that might push up the price, but I feel if they want to keep up with the competition, or, you know, get the jump on the competition, then it's something that they are going to have to look to do in future. And because of these impending Euro regulations coming into effect in January next year, I do think that Yamaha might kind of take the plunge and take this opportunity to kind of upgrade the bike as a whole. You know, probably they'd have to change the front end quite drastically. We've got this kind of nice front end on the bike as it is at the moment with the twin headlights, but I could imagine that they may well have to change that, because if they're going to be fitting a bigger TFT screen, then they may look at the screen that's on the Tracer 900 GT, I believe it is. That's got a, you know, a nice colour TFT. Then they would probably need to redesign the front end of the bike, because it's quite tight already around. When you look at the yoke and the distance between that and the screen, there's not a lot of space, so I think they probably would have to kind of redesign the front end a little bit, but again, I think it would be worth it. So that's kind of my first point on it, is more or less given the kind of say the Euro standard, and as I understand it, it's not really a case of whether, you know, the UK is in or out of the EU as to whether that comes into effect. I think it's adopted by a lot of countries, so it's not just in Europe. Even manufacturers overseas, or the factories overseas implement that into their designs. I guess it's because otherwise, you know, say if you were a manufacturer like Yamaha, you don't want to be having to kind of make multiple versions of one bike for the different countries. Also, if you look at the previous generations, they kind of follow usually a 3-year cycle. So like I mentioned, the original MT-09 came out around about 2013 into 2014. You had this bike in 2017, so if you look at it from that point of view, then I also think we are due another model. And a lot of manufacturers also take that same approach. If you look at a lot of the kind of, like I say, rivals like Triumph and Kawasaki, they tend to follow usually around about a 2 to 3 year cycle. Now that could get delayed again because of coronavirus, whether they're going to be making these kind of changes and developing bikes at the moment, who knows, because obviously it has had a big impact on everyday life as well as, you know, the bike industry. So it's difficult to say whether they will make the changes or not, but I do feel like they probably are looking round at the competition, and potentially later on this year there may be a new MT-09 announced for release next year. So be interested to see what happens. And I'd like to hear from you guys. You know, have you got an MT-09 at the moment, and do you anticipate that they might bring out a new model? And if they did, would you be interested in upgrading your MT-09, or do you have kind of one of the rival bikes, you know, the Triumph Street Triple, a Kawasaki Z900, and if Yamaha were to bring out a new MT-09, would that, you know, tempt you into taking one out for a spin? So yeah, just my thoughts. Like I say, I've not seen any kind of official rumours or any kind of spy shots that you sometimes see in the press or anything like that. Just looking at what's around at the moment in the market, and like I say, the pending Euro standards that are coming up and what I think Yamaha might do. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you want to see more videos coming soon, then please subscribe to my channel. I'll try and put out a range of different videos, so you know, bike reviews when I can, and also videos and vlogs on my MT-09, as well as just kit reviews and just, you know, whatever news videos I can bring out also. So again, thank you for watching, and stay tuned to my channel for more videos coming soon. Okay, thank you guys. Cheers.